So today's video is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be talking about a type of software that I use on a daily basis, both for personal and for work things. I've been using it for quite a long time at work, and I've been using it even longer in my personal life. And we're going to be talking about the types of software, but I'm also going to be talking about two examples that I have some pretty ample experience with. And the type of software we're going to be talking about today is project management software. So if you're like me, you at some point probably had a note or still do have a note on your phone that you use to track all the kind of tasks that you're doing, write down ideas, write down things that you don't want to forget, all these kinds of things. And it can be pretty handy, but sometimes you wish for it to be a little bit more organized or for it to have a little bit more features. That's where these project management softwares come in. Now, you can use them and keep them as simple as you want them to be, but they can also be extremely complex. We're going to be talking about two major examples that I have used in the past, and I'll talk about a few other alternatives as well. But the two versions that we're going to talk about today are Asana and Monday. Now, with both of these, they can be, again, super simple, but they can also be insanely complex. I've seen entire companies that were basically managing a majority of their back end using Monday to track all of their service people, what they're doing, how they're doing it, what their current workload is. You could do a bunch of really complex stuff in business sense, but you can also use them really, really well for your personal things. And the best part is a lot of these project management softwares can be used for free, and you just get additional stuff once you go up to a paid premium version. And that's actually going to lead to one of the biggest differences that I have between Asana and Monday and why I use one for personal and one for business. So let's quickly talk about Asana. I use Asana for all of my YouTube stuff. I use it to keep track of all of my upcoming videos. I use it to pre-plan videos. If an idea comes to mind where I'm like, hey, I can do a video on this, I will throw it into Asana as a brainstorm item. I'm not going to show you those because that has some little secrets that are coming up. But I will throw it in there, and then I can go ahead and add notes to those, basically saying what I want to talk about in the video. And I don't script my videos. I'm sure you could probably tell because I say a lot. I have a lot of really hard cuts. I just don't like scripting. It makes me feel robotic. So I usually just have a bunch of notes here, and I will glance at those as I'm speaking to hit all the points that I want to talk about. So for example, here we have my Windows 11 video, talks about why I switched to Windows 11. I have a bunch of just very quick notes that I have written down, and this is what I will look at while I'm recording my videos. One of the best things about these types of programs is that they're all web-based. So you can use it on your phone, you can use it on your tablet, you can use it on your laptop, your computer, you can use it wherever you want. And they all basically act the same, which is extremely handy. They're not heavy to use. So I can just quickly launch this up on my phone, add a quick note in of something I thought about, and there we go. Perfect and ready for a video. So yeah, Asana is what I use for all of my personal stuff, and I'm on the free tier for this. And the reason I stuck to Asana for my personal use is because I feel like Asana's free tier is significantly better than Monday's, and we'll go into why once we switch over to Monday. But Asana gives you a lot of options on the free tier. So I'll leave a link to this page down in the description below, but this kind of goes over the differences that you get for being in different tiers of the software. Basic is the free, premium is the personal paid version, business is quite a bit more expensive, and then enterprise is significantly more expensive. But as you can see here from the Asana basic gives you a lot of stuff. Unfortunately, you don't get timelines, you don't get portfolios and goals, but those are things that I don't think a lot of people are going to be using really for their own personal stuff. You get tons of integrations, you get time tracking, and then again, a lot of these other things I feel like are only beneficial if you're going to be using it in a very complex and businessy style. If you're using it for just personal stuff, a lot of these things that they don't give you, you don't really need, which is awesome. And one of the greatest things about Asana's free tier is that you get 15 users on that free tier. So you can collaborate lists with a whole bunch of people. So for example, Say you and your partner want to keep track of things that you guys are doing around the house in terms of chores and stuff like that. You can use this if you wanted to. If there's a project that you guys are working on, like maybe you're renovating your kitchen and you want to keep track of all the things that you're doing, checking out flooring, going and doing this, going and doing that, you can track it all in here and you can do a collaboration together. If you're doing a lot of group projects with a bunch of friends from school, this is a good way to do it. If you're doing YouTube videos and you have an editor, this is also a really good way. Or you're just a team and there's more than one person that helps create the videos. You can use things like this to help collaborate together. And I think that's really awesome. I don't have anybody that I do that with, but the ability to do that is really, really nice. And at one point, with a previous partner of mine, we did use something like this in order to kind of manage tasks and just overall things that are going on and keep each other on the ball. Now, Monday, however, I think is a much better paid experience than Asana. I've used both of them as free and paid. And at my previous job, I actually started off with Asana on the paid version and then switched over to Monday, mainly because Monday's ability to share is much, much better. You can create basically public links for any of your pages that you have or views. And you can send that to whomever you want and they can have access to it. So in a working environment, that's really great if you're trying to share information with other people. It gives them only view access, but they can see everything. They can be up to date and they can know what's going on. You don't have to export things. So one of the problems with Asana was we had to export a lot of stuff from there. I had to use integrations to try to export things into a PDF so that I can then email it. Whereas with Monday, I literally just say, hey, check the link. You can see exactly what's going on. The other thing with Monday is that the integrations are much more significant, much more numerous than Asana. And I feel like a lot of them just work a lot better than Asana does. But unfortunately, some of them are paid. And, you know, I don't like having to pay for additional things and you're basically paying another subscription. So I do avoid using most of those, especially in my workplace. But I do use a lot of really good small integrations, things like ones with Teams, with email, sending things out. The integrations are super handy as well. But as a personal user, again, I'm not really using many of these. I also just prefer the way that Monday visually is laid out and how everything works. A lot of these project management softwares are very similar in the way that they work, especially if you use similar views. So for example, table views, Kanban views, calendar views, stuff like that. They're all very similar in that way, but I do like the way that the interface on Monday works. And as I mentioned, I use Monday on a daily basis. I use it to take in all incoming user requests, so I basically use it as a makeshift help desk. I use it to track all of our development that we do. I use it to kind of track any kind of things that we have to work on, tasks, all that kind of stuff. And then I also have a separate board. So you can create workspaces, and you can also create boards within these. And I have a separate board that I use just to track my own workload and my own tasks that I'm keeping on top of. And then I can share that with my boss so that he can kind of see what I'm currently working on, what I'm currently stuck on maybe, what's been sitting there for a long time and maybe I forgot about it. You can kind of remind me. Monday is really, really great for that kind of stuff. But as you can see here, Monday is already limited in terms of the free compared to Asana, where the number of seats, you only get 2 seats compared to 15 with Asana. So that's a pretty big gap. You're limited on the number of items that you can add on Monday. And that's actually where I hit the limit. I create a lot of sub items and a bunch of stuff, and I copied a bunch of things over, and I hit limits very, very quickly. Whereas with Asana, I didn't have to worry about that. And yeah, these PM tools are extremely handy. I use them on a daily basis for both personal and business. And I feel like a lot of people could benefit from these, especially if they're doing stuff like content creation, or they have a hard time kind of keeping on top of their own tasks. Again, I use it at work for that. I use it to keep on top of myself, make sure that whenever something comes in and I tell someone I'm going to do something, I add it as a task. I won't be able to forget about it. It'll be there until I check it off and say it's done. Now, there are a ton of alternatives in terms of these PM platforms that are available. One that you can check out is called Hive. It's relatively new, I believe. It does some really cool things, and you can go ahead and check that one out. Basecamp is another pretty popular one. I know a bunch of people that use this for software, and it's pretty handy as well. Trello is one that I know is used pretty heavily in the IT world. I originally was using this in my previous IT role, but then we actually switched over from Trello to Monday because it was just a little bit more flexible, had a lot more options. But if you do like Kanban style, Trello is probably one of the most simple in terms of the amount of options that you get, but it also helps reduce the complexity. And the last one that I know of that I've seen or kind of very lightly used is called Jira. It's very nice. I know a lot of people, again, in software that use Jira to keep on top of things. They have it integrated with their help desk, so it automatically creates tasks and all that kind of stuff, which is pretty awesome. And that's another option as well. Now, even though I've mentioned quite a few options, there are a ton more. I think there's probably maybe between 20 and 30 like pretty expansive PM platforms out there that you could use. Again, Monday and Asana are just ones that I have personal experience with, and they both do things for myself and kind of fit all those needs that I really, really need for both my personal life and using it for free, and then the paid version and using that for work. Now, I will be leaving affiliate links down in the description below for both Asana and Monday. If you do end up wanting to sign up for these, please go ahead and use those links. It really does help me out, and I appreciate it. But yeah, PM platforms are not for everybody, but for people who do want to try to get a little bit more organized, I feel like they're a very, very handy tool. And the fact that you can use a lot of these pretty expansively for free is extremely awesome. And I wouldn't have been able to keep up, basically never missing a single week upload since I started doing this on a weekly basis 2 years ago. So without these pieces of software, I would never be able to do that, and I'm grateful for it. And I hope you're grateful for this video. If you are, I'd really appreciate if you like, subscribed. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, feel free to leave those down in the comment section below. Big thanks to my Patreon sponsors, Thoughts, Lime, and Step Back, and thank you for watching this video. If you want to see any of my other videos where I talk about other tech topics, you can go ahead and check out this playlist right up here. And as always, stay safe out there. I'll see you next Saturday.